You shot a spec ad for Adidas Originals and JD Sports, going for concept ideation to post-production in less than 2 weeks with no budget. And let's talk some pre-production.
Yeah, let's get into it.
What was the biggest challenge that you think you faced in pre-production?
Well, when we thought of the concept, we needed it to be outdoors because of our budget. And so when you're thinking of how do I shoot something outdoors with no budget, you're very limited to spaces, right? So I knew we couldn't rent, and I thought of Legends Patio, where we can, you're here right now. Yeah, shout out Legend. And I was like, let's just do it there. But I knew it was tiny. I had a feeling you forgot how tiny it was. So I was like, let me manipulate a little bit here. I was like, let's just do it on Legends. And you were like, yeah, I'm down. But I always knew that this patio is too tiny. Up until we got to the location scout, I was like, okay, now it's really tiny, because we had messaged so many people for crew. I don't know how we would have had gotten 4 talent on here alone with you guys, right? And so I was like, you know what? We're going to still make it work. But something about the patio situation always felt like, how I'm going to make it work. I had no idea. Like, I was just like, yeah, let's just go. Let's just keep going. And then when you had that project, man, like that was like what, 2 days after we scouted?
Yeah, so 2 days after we scouted, I did a project where we shot at the old hotel here in Toronto. It was a wellness event, a yoga event, and it was shot on a patio. And as I was shooting on that patio for that project, I sat there and thought to myself, and I'm like, wait a second, like this is actually the perfect place to shoot this project. The space is obviously a lot larger. There's 2 floors, so we can house more people.
Absolutely.
We can have an area for craft and all these things. Because before that, we were thinking, well, we may have to have some people inside Legend space and then outside and around the area.
Which is not ideal.
Which is not ideal, right?
We were never happy with that. But we were like, how do we make this work?
Yeah. So we were just trying to use the resources and people that we knew to sort of make this happen. But anyways, I got introduced through a friend. A shout out to Sophie from Dream Forever. She introduced us to the old hotel, and I pitched them on the project and what we're trying to do. And they were really down to help us out and be a part of this because they do support what's happening in the filmmaking space. They're a great space, you know, for other filmmakers to go and actually rent out and film using whether it's their rooms or their patio.
I mean, I think like I had the happiest time there because you're really dealing with the setup, and for me, I was just so grateful for the large patio and the fact that I had 2 levels. It really allowed me to split like crew and talent into different areas when needed, right? Because now we had a scene where we had to do a flip, and so imagine if we had just 1 floor and we had craft, right? It saved us a lot of time. They were nice enough to let us use that patio, right? And to let us use the washroom and everything. We didn't have an actual room attached, but they still made it really accommodating for us, and they really believed in us, which anytime you're looking for locations or you're looking for spaces to use and you don't have a budget backing it, those are the biggest things to be grateful about when creating something like this, is the people who support you that don't know you and that don't really need to actually, right? Shout out to the old hotel. Yeah. Like beautiful space.
Yeah, and if you're in Toronto, check that out.
Yeah. Overall, also their hospitality. Like they made us feel welcome.
The goal of the Old right now is to grow in the filmmaking space. So if you're watching this, please reach out to the Old to rent their space, whether it's a room or the patio, to do your productions. They're a great space. They're happy to host you. So reach out to Hold. Shout out to that.
Why do you feel wardrobe was such an anchor for us on this project?
It's a good question. Wardrobe was the biggest thing that I wanted to nail on this project because I knew we were fighting against a few different things. I knew we were not going to have the luxury of crafting light the way we want to because we're shooting outside.
Yeah.
I knew that we are going to be at locations for a limited amount of time because we're trying to shoot basically 4 scenes in 2 days. We wouldn't have enough time to actually do any set design. And the spaces that we're in, I knew we wouldn't have an opportunity to do any real art unless we had a crazy budget and we were changing the way things look completely. So the way I wanted to have a visual language was by the style on the clothes and the colors that were on screen. I wanted things to pop, so it gave that vibrancy and created its own world. So usually I like to create a world with the arts and what's in the space. In this case, since we couldn't do that, you know, the idea was to create that world and encapsulate the viewers by the clothes, the colors, and the vibrancy of the whole project.
And this is why it was so important for us to get a stylist.
Yeah. Talk to us about working with the stylist. I went into that, and even the clothes that were on set. Like,
yeah. So I had met SJ. I had run into her on a set, and she was a stylist on that set. Got her Instagram. I kept up with her work, and I was like, she's really good at color theory. I think we were just talking about other projects and us talking about stylists. And I was like, I think I know somebody. So I had sent him her page, and you liked her stuff. So when this project came about, I was like, and we were talking about when you stylist, I'm like, how about I just messaged SJ? And so I hit her up, and she was amazing. The whole process, like, she was just so like tedious about what went into this just off the treatment. Like, she had a creative direction board, and she had multiple selections, which she ran by me first before we got on our DP call, which was like sensational because we had maybe back-to-back calls that whole day, right? So the last thing we would have wanted is us to be picking and choosing. Like, she showed you the final product because I had already vetted it, and again, didn't have to do that, right? She did a great job at piecing together the outfits. She took direction very well as well, but also adding the current flavor of outfits in Toronto, right? Because we still wanted it to look a certain way, but we wanted the clothes to be, if not timeless, current.
Yeah.
Like,
and one thing I'd add about working with SJ, I had a sort of like a vision of what I wanted in the director's treatment for how the wardrobe should look and feel. And I had some color references as well. And I know I specifically said that I wanted it to have like a 2000 style look, but then also making that modern. And she absolutely nailed that on the head. And another thing was, in some earlier things that she showed us on our call, I'd mentioned that I want everybody to be wearing Adidas in this commercial, obviously, because we're doing a spot for Adidas and JD as like a collab. And she did an amazing job by finding pieces that worked. Because like I had just sent her like images of tracksuits.
Yeah.
But she went out and found all kinds of things, like Styles' pants were like camel, Adidas pants, and like stuff I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And she made sure that she hit that nail on the head, like finding really dope Adidas original pieces. She went all out and found like all kinds of crazy fits that can go with each character and their sort of description.
Yeah.
So having a stylist on board, I think, was probably, it was definitely one of our best moves on this project, because it really helped us not worry about that side of things, but it made the characters' personality speak without it being said, right?
Absolutely.
Based on how they were dressing. And then it all came together with their dialogue.
Yeah, she nailed it, because your original concept was the blue tracksuit, because you wanted it to contrast the car. But yeah, she was like, we could do better than this. And I was like, okay, show me. And she did.
Biggest things on set, especially on a low budget project, it doesn't matter about the best lenses or the best camera. Have good art direction. Have amazing art direction. Have a good wardrobe, right? Get good talent if you can, because these are the things that are going to play up your scenes. These are the things that are going to make your dialogue and your script come to light. So yeah, that's what I would say. What advice would you have for somebody trying to produce from a pre-production standpoint?
Organization, for sure. Organization. Also, like, making sure that, because we had no budget, I have to make sure that everything we need is still covered, but also trying to limit what we need at the same time. It's like a crazy battle, tug of war, because some things we really do need, but there's other things that we need but we can live without. So voicing your opinion in those situations, because I'm not DPing or directing. So if you say you need a dolly, then you need a dolly. Am I gonna try to talk you out the dolly? A couple times, but
Didn't work.
It didn't work. But if you need the dolly, then I'm gonna have to be like, all right, you need this, let's make this work, and then let's see where else we can try to like recover from that budget hit, you know? Because there's ways to do it, and we did it. Like, I'm really proud of us for getting it done. But my advice in terms of pre-production as a producer would definitely be on top of things in organization, because even on this project there was things on the communication side that definitely slipped through the cracks, but nothing that was detrimental to the overall project. but it happens, and you can't let that actually get you down or be like, oh, like I forgot to hit this person up, or I hit them up late. As long as you're getting done and you're doing your best, it's all gonna work out. But if you let those moments actually affect how you work, you're affecting the rest of the project.